We are live. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us after that debacle of a Redskins game. You, of course, are.
You're going to start on that note, John. You're going to start on that note.
We're going to start the podcast.
I see where this is going.
That was a Shanahan debacle. That was Shanahan doing his best Shanahan impression.
Yeah.
Hang on, we'll get to that in a second. I do have an introduction prepared.
Okay.
And more importantly, no one knows if they're watching yet because I haven't told them because, people are dumb. Welcome to DOA, the official podcast of the most best-looking blog in the conservative blogosphere, Misfit Politics. I'm your host, Rated R Republican, social media messiah, blogger of all the things, John Brodigan. Have a great panel of, so technically this is a series premiere. We wanted to go way back, way back.
Mm-hmm.
To a couple of
forward, sometimes you have to start at the beginning.
To see where you're going, you have to see.
Thank you.
I like flying blind.
So we tried to get the three Misfit Originals. Of course, ladies first. The first time we've seen her in a while. Brand new mama, and probably the most exciting thing to happen to the Misfit Politics last year is that we procreated. Editor-in-chief.
We do.
Yes,
we do
did.
procreate. We do
I was
multiply.
going to say, is that code for we are a bunch of right-wing nerds, but we do occasionally get laid?
Yes, that's
Okay.
exactly what that is.
Okay.
And you know something? You're going to be on the show more often. She makes me sound literate. Erin Brown, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Hello, everyone.
She
Nice
is
to
the
be
person,
here.
She is the actual person in charge of Misfit Politics, believe it or not.
Yes.
She's actually the boss.
Don't tell anyone. I don't want them coming after me.
Whatever you do, don't tell Brandon.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Don't let him know. His ego won't be able to take it.
Yeah.
Also, to her, if I'm looking at my screen, to her left, our director of merch, and quite frankly, if you were to go to like an adult name generator, you could not come up with anything better than Cole Streeper. Welcome back.
Hi, thanks. I can't think of a more honorable way to be introduced. I mean, that's it. I'm speechless.
I can think
You
of
want
a
some
few.
music?
Exactly. I can think of a few.
And of course, our boss and peerless leader, without whom none of this be possible, CEO of Misfit Politics, and the guy dating Taylor Swift to the rest of our One Direction, Brandon Morse.
The what?
The guy dating Taylor Swift to the rest of our One Direction.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? I would love to have a song written about me by Taylor Swift.
I have.
You have what?
Yep, Dear John.
What?
It's not actually about John Mayer. It's
Oh
about
yeah.
Oh,
That's my
you
story. I'm
have.
sticking to
Oh,
it.
okay.
All right.
I was
Hey,
like,
John.
so
No,
you
no.
wrote a breakup song about me.
I think that's Cole's job.
Me and Cole will never break up.
Never, ever, ever.
Ever.
That's the truth. You're never going to break up.
John, don't use recycled jokes.
Okay. That's all I got. I'm terrible. These are the jokes. I don't do impressions.
How the Long Island personality of the year go?
We'll hopefully find out in a couple weeks. I'm hoping to place better than 5th.
I voted for you, so.
Out of 6, maybe?
Out of every Long Island personality.
Just see.
If I could rank top 3 of
So no matter, like, you got, hang on, you out of everyone in Long Island,
everyone
they
on Long
said
Island.
Brodigan.
No.
You got number 6.
That was last year.
Are
that
we
was
just
up-
talking
oh,
about
okay.
bearded podcast hosts, or is it a little
Everyone.
broader?
I'm talking about some of the other nominees were Billy Joel, Alec Baldwin, Bill O'Reilly.
Teresa Caputo? Come on.
No, actually, he
Really?
did not
Oh,
make.
no, Aaron, we're talking about only people who have personalities.
Oh. Spirit's telling me you've got it.
I gotta be honest with you. I was actually shocked that Zack Ryder did not get nominated this year. Mick Foley did.
Really? Nick Foley? Huh. But Zack Ryder? Who's Zack Ryder?
He's a more newer Long Island. He's actually he's the actual pride and joy of Long Island because he's on TV every week.
Oh.
Professional wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
See, that's why you lost me. That's why you lost me. That's why I started to ADD out onto my phone. So.
Just a warning to the audience.
You'll know I have no idea what we're talking about by this happening.
Yeah, it's like, oh, light up on the face.
So basically, for half this show, it's going to go, Brendan, we're going to talk about you now.
He's going to clue in. There's going to be a little light on his head. Bing! Hello.
And also,
Hello.
Simply because, to quote that great conservative philosopher, take two. To quote that great conservative philosopher Bret Michaels, "It ain't perfect, it's rock and roll." I see 3 out of 4 of us drinking. Aaron, if you'd like to get up and grab your wine, you can.
I could take it. Yeah, but it's all the way upstairs, so I would be gone for. I mean, if you can withstand being without me for a minute, I will go grab it.
Go.
If Frodo could take a ring to a mountain across the country, you can go upstairs and grab your wine.
I will be back shortly.
We'll miss you.
Don't have too much fun while I'm gone.
We will not.
Okay, we promise not to. Okay, guys, let's talk about her.
Actually, what was awesome, and unfortunately this was not broadcast. We actually saw technically the TV debut, and this will be on like the DOA DVD that we hawk. In order when we send out our newsletters, in order to save the conservative movement, donate money, get this DVD. It's going to be on one of the B-sides, the debut of Little Brown.
Yeah.
The debut of Little Brown.
Whose name I can't think of right now.
She's Baby Brown. She's Princess Misfit.
She is the Misfit princess.
I like that.
She is
Princess
in line
Misfit.
to inherit the throne.
Because actually, whenever we're at the next conference, she needs to be presented like Simba or Kimba. Or I haven't seen a Lion King in a while.
Yeah, just as long, you know what? No, Cole can hold her up. I just really want to do the yeah.
We'll be down there taking a knee like we're T-bowing. So
then, like whenever Cole does this, like everyone else can just start going whoa.
So that's like a touchdown. So what is that? We're celebration cheering?
While you were gone, you took a vote.
Yeah.
3 votes yes, 1 vote no votes no, and an abstention because you weren't here. At the next conference roll together, you have to bring in Baby Brown, and we're going to present her like from the Lion King.
Yeah.
Oh,
I get to be Rafiki.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Do we have Elton John playing in the background?
We'll get him.
I will play Elton John. Elton John.
But we have to make sure we find a cliff high enough that I can lift her over.
Yeah, that's true. She needs that Disney-esque sun ray coming in too.
Yeah, I need that.
Yeah.
You know what we'll do? We'll crowdsource the lobby of whatever hotel. Cole, you'll stand on the second floor, just like hanging her over, and they'll call the cops, and we'll get arrested for child endangerment. Even though it's
You know what we'll do?
You want to put a rag over her head first, because if we've learned anything from Michael Jackson, it's that you got to be weird if you're going to do that.
I was going to say if Jackson could get away with it, although did he? He was kind of frowned upon.
Well, kind of, but he's Michael Jackson. I mean, he did touch babies, kids, in inappropriate places and got away with it. So,
you know what's a shame about that? And I'm kind of like the elder of the Misfit Politics group.
No, you're not.
Michael Jackson Thriller, like every kid in 1983, that was like our first tape. When we were in Phoenix and we were in the cab ride over, like Pretty Young Thing was on, and I'm thinking to myself, you know something? There are too many people in this world who don't remember Michael Jackson, the genius. They just remember Michael Jackson, the creepy white guy, who may or may not have touched little boys.
Yep. I agreed.
Yep.
I agree.
Anyway, so back to what we're going to do with Baby Brown. I think what we should actually do is do the long overdue Disneyland trip, the Misfit Disneyland trip.
Old Con.
Climb to the top of the Matterhorn, and then I'll just like tuck her in, right here, just be like, and climb with one arm, and then
get all the way
we can do the presentation there.
All over Disneyland. That would be pretty great.
You don't have to tuck her.
California.
Can we just? Let's make things easier for you, Cole.
Okay.
Baby Bjorn on your chest. That way you have both hands free. Aaron, do you have one that you can provide?
I do have one.
God, why? I hate those things.
Well, because some kids have attachment issues. Mine so far doesn't, but some do. And hey, it was $20 at a yard sale, and normally they retail on Amazon for like $90. So
you gotta buy it. It's $20.
Let's be honest. It was deeply discounted and gently used. So that's my kind of my theory in life.
You know what I found as I live vicariously through my sister, my brother-in-law, since I don't have any kids of my own that I know of. But you have to find the used baby supply store.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Every neighborhood has them.
Yep.
The stuff they charge you people, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I know. I'm like, really? She needs a couple clothes and a buttload of diapers, and I meant that pun intentionally. She poops, eats, and sleeps. She needs,
that's it.
Redskins pacifier, and that's about it.
Exactly.
She's good to go.
That's the life right
Speaking
there.
of the Redskins sucking.
Ever since I actually...
Oh, really? Did your team make it to the playoffs this year? Oh.
My team made it to a bowl game. I'm not an NFL.
My team
man.
actually won
And
against
don't talk smack about the Redskins.
That was a perfect
team won
segue.
against
You're
the
talking about a
Bengals,
pacifier.
I know.
I was actually really scared that they weren't because they were just rocking ass all season long, and then suddenly, out of the blue, they start this losing streak that was just... I may have cried and thrown things.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say is that at least Mark Sanchez and Tim Tebow made it past the first round in their rookie year.
Leah will be pleased. Leah will be pleased.
Well, I mean, technically, Griffin only played like not a full game, and he played most of the game on only one leg.
Yeah.
Yo, I understand we all made fun of Christian Ponder just because. What kind of a pussy do you have to be to, like, it's a half an hour before game time and your first playoff game, my elbow hurts?
Mm.
I'm sorry. You do not need a well arm to hand the football to Adrian Peterson. You don't.
Yeah, right?
So,
kind of get right in there. And...
a half an hour before they go to, like, the water boy who was doubling as, like, the backup quarterback, hasn't even touched a football all year. By the way, you're playing in the playoffs.
Man, it's got to be one of the best jobs in the U.S. Oh, you're a third-string quarterback? Great. You get paid tons of money to ride the pine pony. Great seats.
Yeah, seriously, I would love to not play football and get paid for it.
Right,
that to me
that's
is
what I'm
like the ultimate dream.
No risk, all reward.
Exactly. It's like all the guys who are getting the deals and stuff and out on the field and they're getting the fame. That's great and all, but this dude sitting on the sidelines, all he has to do is work out from time to time with the team, and then he sits down and watches them play at the best seats in the house, and then gets millions of dollars for it. That's the dream that I want.
Well, some get millions. A lot of them get millions. No.
Third stringers, I think, still get $500,000.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Minimum, at least.
Yeah.
So here you go. We're going to pay you to work out, stay in shape, and in essence help you look good. We're going to pay for you to go on trips to all the major cities in America. You're going to get to wear a badass uniform and helmet about 16 times a year. Which is the amount of times you're probably going to get laid a day.
Yeah.
Just for,
No, you see, I was about to say that Cole's describing. I was about.
That is your workout, honey.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on how it's done. Yeah. It's true.
I was about to say Cole's describing the Tebow contract, but the whole having sex thing, not so much.
Aww.
You're gonna see Leah come off screen and just kill Brodigan.
She's just gonna fly. She's gonna be airborne sideways.
Coming through the window in the back and just.
Wait, actually, I think I downloaded the Leah app.
The Leah app.
God. That's something that we should totally create.
No, but look, in Tebow's fans' defense, only in New York can people have a quarterback that's just getting there, and they decide, what would be great?
What?
Let's get a quarterback or backup that's more popular than any other quarterback in the league to quote-unquote do the Wildcat occasionally. We're going to play him just enough to fuck up QB1's game, not enough to develop QB2's game, and then when we eventually give him QB1, we're going to jump right to QB3.
Yep.
This, my friends, is why I don't have any New York sports teams that I'm fans of unless I get fantasy points, because they're all this.
Dude,
how did Rex Ryan not get fired? I don't even know.
I think it might still be coming because he was supposed to have a press conference on Black Monday, and they canceled it at the last second. And then you see him in the New York tabloids. Apparently, he's got a tattoo.
I just saw this.
Yeah.
We're presuming it's his wife, but it's a girl wearing nothing but a Jets jersey with Mark Sanchez's number on it.
I'm surprised it wasn't a close-up of her feet. If people don't know why that's funny, his wife was apparently in a foot fetish porno. So
no, even better.
Oh,
a foot fetish amateur porno that Rex Ryan taped.
Yes. So here you go. Defensive coordinator, head coach, producer of Smut. Awesome. Dude, the guy
amateur foot smut.
Amateur quick smut. Yes.
So,
man, I wish I was Rex Ryan.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That dude's got the life.
And then our other problem is the Giants, where generally speaking, I understand football teams win some and lose some. The Giants will either destroy you by like 50 points, or lose by 80.
Yeah, they kind of swing wildly.
I mean, shout out to him for Rachel real quick because she thinks we're hilarious, and that really pleases me.
Cheers to that.
Okay, and how about this?
Are we live? Like
Courtney.
People are.
And Punk Princess Pessa,
live?
who is off. Yeah, we're live right now.
Oh, see, I didn't realize. I thought we were recording and then like
no, we're live.
Later.
No, we're live.
We are live.
Hello, fans.
If we're doing shout-outs, I'm going to shout out to Courtney, who thought my Redskins sucking pacifier comment was hilarious, so drink to that.
Drink.
Oh, wow, you made a pacifier pun.
Where did you get
hilarious? It was perfectly timed.
It was good. It was good.
You guys know who gets laid a lot? Pit crew members from NASCAR.
Oh.
Really?
They have what's called pit lizards. And these pit lizards, they like to hang around. Yeah, they like to hang around like the pit crew guys and stuff, and basically
because they know that they always have lots
of groupies.
You know, like the girls who do this in Talladega Nights, like that's them. Like without that.
Yeah. They're like the roadies of professional sports.
I was just gonna say they're the roadies. Yeah.
It's the loop.
You know what Misfit Politics needs? Roadies.
And groupies.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say lube, but okay.
Well, I mean, we got plenty of that.
We have natural lube.
Thank you, by the way, Koch
Brandon
brothers.
invested our first paycheck into the Astroglide stock.
Thank you, Koch brothers, for our lube.
And do any of you regret that?
No,
not one of you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay.
We need groupies or we need interns. Because that's actually, this is actually my plan, because if I do win Long Island Personality of the Year, you get this big obnoxious banner to hang in your place of business. I've got a good friend of mine is involved with the CRs in GW, and I'm going to get her and two of her friends to just follow me around everywhere I go at CPAC, just like holding the banner behind me.
That would be awesome.
If I win,
you know what I really want to happen, but I can't do it. I can't do it myself because it's like bragging essentially. I want somebody to make a
that's so out of character.
Yeah, and you're too humble.
I'm way too humble for this, you guys.
Don't humble yourself.
Yeah. But I want somebody to make a Wikipedia page about us.
Oh.
I think
we deserve. That's what we need an intern for. That's what we need an intern for. Here, intern.
Exactly.
Go sort the blogger list.
Make
Go
a
bring
Wikipedia page.
Let's find a college kid who has nothing else to do. Crudo.
I was just gonna say. No.
Actually,
Crudo is probably one of the hardest working people within Misfit.
He's probably the smartest of us.
Definitely one of the. He's probably the most hardest working person within Misfit Politics. All that animating and stuff is done by him and One Ton Turtle on Twitter.
Yeah.
And he directs it all. Like, all America stuff, that's Crudo.
And he's like wicked smart, and he's a full-time college student.
And he has a Jewfro. He's not even Jewish. I don't know how he gets away with it.
And he looks Greek, but he's not even Greek. He's Italian.
I know.
Yeah. How does he do this shit?
I don't know, dude.
I don't get it.
You know something, and right now we're gonna start the DOA drinking game. Whenever we go on and on about one of our friends, we have to cheers them. Cheers to Crudo.
Cheers to Crudo.
Though, what I was thinking, to make DOA interactive, we're looking for someone to do a Wikipedia page. Punk Principia, I can't see your name right now. I nominate you.
Yes. Okay. Our most loyal DOA fan.
Yes.
For the first episode of the series.
Yes, our most loyal disciple of the disciples.
So let's expand that a little bit. Like, what does DOA mean, and what are we here to talk about besides Rex Ryan's foot fetish?
Well, because I wanted to go for like a badass like Sons of Anarchy name.
Yeah.
And in wrestling, they used to have a biker gang called DOA, Disciples of Apocalypse. I decided to cite Disciples of Andrew because
disciples.
Oh, gotcha.
We're technically we are Disciples of Andrew. I have some grumblings by I don't want to mention Tom by name, but no, you can't say that because DOA that implies dead. But we should do like DOB, but Date of birth? That's not a cool name.
You know what I figure? I think that we, especially as conservatives on the right, we care too much about what other people might be hurt by because we're nice people by default.
I'm an asshole. I don't know about you.
I don't give a fudge, like at all.
He's talking about how he doesn't care, and then he edits himself.
As fudge.
Only I
no.
didn't
Well,
say
you guys
fudge.
have seen A Christmas Story. You guys have seen A
said
Christmas Story.
the word, the big one, the queen mother of all dirty words, the F -- word.
Did you know they actually made a sequel to the Christmas
Yes,
Story?
I know. That is the worst thing ever.
What the hell is that about?
No, you know what? I refuse to even hear about it. Exactly. Thank you. No, but what was I talking about?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Have
matter.
another drink.
Another beer.
Oh,
It really doesn't matter.
You were talking about how people give too much of a fudge.
He doesn't
Yeah.
care. He's going to get another beer. So oh yeah.
He's
He's got to get another. He's got to get another Mick Ultra. By the way, he's drinking Mick Ultra. I'm honoring our founders here. There you go.
I was honoring Long Island craft beer industry because I had a bottle in my refrigerator. Spider Bite, Barca Spider, Imperial Stout.
Ooh.
And I'm honoring, let's see, suburban housewives that like to drink dessert wine.
Haha.
New
Hey.
mommy juice.
New.
That's what I like to call
That's
it.
that.
Wait a
I
second.
love
Wait a
New
second.
mommy
Let's
juice.
clarify here, because new mommy juice could mean multiple things.
No, we're not talking about the Milky Way. All right.
The Milky Way? Are we talking constellations now?
What is the Milky Way?
Oh, breast milk.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
There you go.
All right,
No, we're talking
boobs.
about time for mommy. Time for mommy drink.
Wait a second.
Time for mommy
Breast milk
drink.
is actually called Milky Way? That is awesome.
Have you never been to a baby shower and played these games? Come on.
You know
Come
something?
on,
No,
just
The answer to that is no.
You are
I've always
missing
wondered-
out. You're
I've
missing
always
out on the
wondered
kinky
what-
baby
and-
shower
and
games. Just
maybe
saying.
our
That's supposed to be
awesome
wedding
audience
showers.
could help me out with this. But what does breast milk taste like? Yeah, I got real silent.
I have no
but
idea.
I want to know. I want to know. Does it taste
You know what?
like
You're
cow
not.
milk?
You're in the
Well-
majority. Guys are weirdly curious about that.
From what I understand, and the only reason I know this is because when I was a wee little 6-year-old Brodigan, hanging out in front of a fireplace, my mom used to have a couple friends who would discuss things that you probably didn't discuss in front of like a 6-year-old. And
Wee
according to
little
them,
6-year-olds.
now, okay, now the taste may have changed over the last 30 years.
Well,
But
it depends on what the mom had.
Yeah, as of 30 years ago, it tasted like very sugary milk.
Really?
Yes.
Alright.
Like a milkshake, but watered down.
That sounds delicious.
See, what I've heard and this is strictly from TV, and you know everything on TV is true.
Exactly.
It sort of tastes like a creamy, milky grapefruit juice, and that's from Friends, the one with the breast milk.
I had.
Which is
I
funny.
cannot confirm
Which
or
is funny
deny,
because
don't
if you
know.
combined milk with grapefruit juice, that would not taste delicious.
That would not taste delicious.
No.
You know
That's
what? You
kinda
know what
bad.
piqued my interest is that episode of Friends. Well, yeah, naturally, but that episode of Friends where
Even unnaturally.
where
Where you had
like,
a big man
Ross,
crush on Ross.
Yeah, I had a big man crush on Ross. Still do.
Chandler.
Did you see him in Brand of Brothers?
I just watched that
like
this
the-
weekend, like 3 episodes. Love it.
That's the greatest. That's the greatest
It's
miniseries
fantastic.
anyone has
Ever.
ever. Yeah, it's if
it's
you haven't
really good.
crowd, if you haven't seen Band of Brothers yet, you're not a real
Yeah.
American. I
No.
just said it. I just said
You
it.
saw- that's
You'll
it.
I
feel
did that,
so much
and then
pride.
I killed zombies. It was like a fantastic weekend.
Even
Anyway,
if you're a
back
dirty,
to Ross.
There you go. Even if you're a
High
dirty
five,
little
Aaron.
piece of
Right.
crap,
Thank
you will love Band of
You
Brothers
know
and feel
something?
American.
Cheers to killing zombies.
Yeah,
Cheers
I
to killing
used a
zombies.
357 Magnum, and then when that didn't work, I knifed the hell out of them. Like, just to be... It was
There you go.
awesome. It was fantastic.
A bunch of dudes right now just went, ah.
It's like, okay, I know she had a kid, but are we sure that she's married?
No, yeah.
Okay, well, you know something, Erin, at the very least, you just became a member of my zombie team.
Oh, I get to be on your apocalypse, like,
You're on my
save the
apocalypse
world team?
now. Yeah.
Hold on.
Sweet,
Wait a
I'm not
second.
afraid to knife a bitch. Let's do it. I mean, I have a 3-inch blade on me at all times, usually.
That's
So,
what she said.
I'm not afraid.
Um,
Blade? Yeah. Anyway, back to your friend's thing about breast milk. I totally got off tangent with Ross, Band of Brothers, killed zombies. I'm sorry.
Oh no,
Back to you.
no, that was perfectly worthy of
Great.
diverting every bit of attention from me.
Okay.
Ever.
No matter what we're talking about at any time, you could always interrupt us with zombies.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Or breasts.
That's right. That's right.
Zombies are breasts. Zombie
Boobs.
breasts.
Bring up boobs whenever. I don't even care.
Boobs.
Okay, so we're talking
and
about boob
brainless
milk here.
Zombies.
So,
Boob juice.
so
I have a feeling you guys will
we
beat me
had
to the
a
punch on bringing up the boobs, but go for it.
The boobs.
To boobs.
Boobs.
The boobs.
the boobs.
Why not?
So we're 30 minutes into this podcast already, which I really feel like this podcast goes too fast.
Yeah, it does.
So we came here to talk about how it started and all that stuff.
Yes.
What,
yes,
boob
because,
juice?
Because the Misfit.
That is how it all started.
Yeah,
but-
we're approaching the 1 year anniversary. I know we had the technical Misfit 1 year anniversary last year.
No. We actually did have the 1 year anniversary.
Yeah.
Already.
I'm
11/1/11.
Yeah, I'm talking about the 1 year anniversary from CPAC when I did the podcast and I became a member of I became a part of Misfit because let's be honest, it's all about me.
All right.
well, yes.
But no, yes, I did draw together. I believe.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. The only 3 remaining Misfit Originals. Leah came in. Leah and Misfit came in early on, but
Leah came in actually during CPAC.
Yeah, she came in during CPAC.
okay.
It started off with me, Cole, and a handful of other people.
I
And,
wasn't even an original.
Yeah, she's actually technically Erin's not an original, but I still consider her one
Yeah,
because
well,
she has been here like the longest, more or less.
I was there.
And
I was there
so-
before we launched, which
And-
is
And
kind of
like I
as
said,
well.
as far as I'm concerned, CPAC didn't start until I came along, so you were there at the table, so you are a Misfit Original.
There we go.
She,
That's right.
she was already editor-in-chief by the time the website launched.
Yeah.
So as long as the website's been live, she's been
That's
editor-in-chief.
But to give you an idea of really what we were going for when we first started this whole entire thing, our very first meeting, and Erin, I'm sorry you weren't there because it was hysterical,
Oh my God.
was made up entirely, and I shit you not, of us playing Obama's like little, what are the words I'm looking for, Cole?
soundboard.
Farts?
Yeah, we had an Obama soundboard, and we were playing his voice, like him reading his book, and playing right alongside it fart noises. That was the entire meeting. That was the entire meeting, and we were crawling on the floor laughing. We were crying. That's how. That's how Misfit began.
That's how Misfit began.
Fart noises.
No, and the thing is, we came up. The second meeting did not fail to disappoint because I had just come across a video, and I was after seeing the sense of humor and understanding that it was right in line with mine, and understanding what Misfit was going to be. After Brandon explained that we were going to try to be just like this funny, different, alternative type of conservative site, and then getting to know these guys, like crying of laughter in that first soundboard meeting, and then we I found this video called "Nom Nom 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 Babies." And it's this guy that name. Some of you may have seen it. It has over 1 million views on YouTube. But
yeah. Well, he also does the epic rap battles of history.
Yes.
Oh,
but this guy by the name of Nice Peter, yeah, he does the epic rap battles of history. He does what he calls picture songs, and he has a main theme that he continues to come back to, but basically it's a slideshow, and he just has this little funny acoustic thing that he goes across and has one-liners about every single song.
Okay.
I remember laughing so hard that no sounds were coming out of me.
Yeah, I was
watching
hurting.
this.
I was literally hurting because I was laughing so hard at like, oh, it's Sonic the douche hog. Dude, I'm like a freaking.
You know, I had a couple of nights like that in college, but it wasn't really the internet as much as like pharmaceutical products, where I'm surprised we survived.
Yeah.
So that's how and then Cole was named like director of merch later on. Erin actually signed on as just an editor, and at the time Sarah C. Johnson, Georgia, that's her Twitter name, Sarah Johnson, was editor-in-chief at the time, but she had gotten involved with Glenn Beck, and so Erin was like, I'll be editor-in-chief, and I was like, yes, you will.
Yeah.
And so that's how Erin got involved, and I mean, like, you know, it's been freaking awesome. Like, look at all we've done. If you really look back at it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like we've done a lot.
I mean, single-handedly making fun of an Obama website.
Into making it go away. That's a big thing.
Well, see,
Hats off to Ezra Doulis for that.
I mean, making fun of Occupy in their videos. Julia, mocking the life of Julia.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
What was it? The attack watch to me was the most impressive thing because, you know, when I heard what Brandon was doing, I heard the name Misfit, and I know they were in the same music, so I figured it was going to be that flavor. So I was planning on, it's like, well, as soon as it gets launched, you know, I'll have you on the show to talk about it. But when you guys debuted with a video that not only it wasn't funny, it completely destroyed a presidential campaign's initiative. And okay, not even a challenger. Awesome. The incumbent president's presidential campaign, you guys completely destroyed an initiative.
It was that you know. Hats off to Ezra Doulis once again for that, dude.
Yeah. Ezra was just
Ezra.
Ezra.
You're the man, Ezra.
And also, here's another guy, and he's not like technically a part of Misfit, but I have to give a shout out to him, Michael Deppish, who not only created our logo and all that good stuff, like all the graphics, the intros and outros that we have at Misfit. Like the dude was a genius. He's the one that did the Solyndra video, the Occupy video, that making fun of the San Francisco Occupy.
Yeah, Occupy San Francisco.
Dude, he was hysterical. He's still hysterical. Like, I can remember one meeting. He was there, and like he was just playing on his guitar the entire time and like making up songs about how he's not a rapist gorilla or something like that. No, he's not a baboon rapist. He's not a baboon rapist. That was it.
Oh, I'm glad we needed a song to clarify that.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're gonna clarify it, you might as well clarify it in song.
Via song,
exactly.
yeah.
So shout out to Michael Deppish, who is still a very good friend of mine.
Huzzah!
To Michael.
The way I really came across and became involved was pretty interesting because I had just started. Like I'd been involved in basically Twitter ticks, as I call Twitter politics, for about a year. And I was just barely starting to gain some followers and starting to make some friends and started my own blog just, you know, for shits and giggles, and started getting a little bit of attention and stuff. And mutual friend of ours, of Brandon and mine, I knew Brandon very, very surface because him and I saw him tweet something. I followed him and I saw him tweet something about a new Taking Back Sunday album, and I was like, Taking Back Sunday. So me and him started talking about that album and then past albums, but that's all the contact he and I had really had. So then I got approached by somebody and asked me, would you like to write for a site? And I was like, yeah, let's do this. And then when I found out what it actually was, and Brandon explained it a little more, I was so on board. So I mean, that's kind of how I came about. Like I was at work getting texts about this, and I was like, yeah, do anything to pass my day because my job's was like the worst thing in the world. So anything, like how many times there was a time where you were so like done miserable with that job the moment I met you. It was awful. There was a time where,
to be fair though, there was nothing more productive if you're writing a blog or you're launching a blog or you're launching blogging a blogosphere or blogging all the things than having an office job that you
use of the word blog.
Yes, there was nothing more effective to your creativity when you're sitting in front of a computer for 8 hours with no actual work to do.
Erin and Brandon can vouch for me because there were so many days where I would do nothing but Google Plus chat with them all day while at work. But there was even a time where Brandon handed over CEO reins to me for a couple of weeks while I was there at work.
I was doing recently.
And yeah, we just did that recently too. But it was while I was still working. It was over a year ago, and all I did all day was nothing but Misfit, and I got paid about $20 an hour.
By someone else.
By someone else.
That's actually how I make most of my workers do it. I have somebody else pay them at their normal jobs as they do Misfit. It worked out really well.
You know, it's the one thing office jobs are good for because like my old job. I mean, as it is, my boss is on our side. Like she's actually the one who introduced me to Ed Morrissey's Captain's Quarters, which is how I discovered conservative blogs in the first place. But my last day at work, I even told her like, and thank you for looking the other way when you saw me on hotair.com every day.
Nice.
But here's the thing, folks. I would love it, absolutely love it, if I could pay my employees, if we could make a lot of money doing what we do because you love what we do. How cool would it be if Brodigan, Erin, and Cole could get money just for doing Misfit stuff? They wouldn't have to do anything else.
All I have is empty bottles of beer.
All he has is empty bottles of beer.
That's all I have now.
I've been drinking anything. I've just been. I've been fake drinking out of the same bottle every single time we toast. No, not really. I have another bottle.
I'm drinking Bud Light.
No, but
He was just drinking Michelob Ultra. Michelob. I just said Michelob.
Michelob.
He's drinking Michelob.
How
horrible is it?
The poor lad is drinking Michelob.
I can beat that. This is all I have left in the house.
Oh God. Oh God.
Hey, nothing beats a 40 of Hurricane, okay? Which is what I used the first time I played beer pong.
Well, when I was in college,
incidentally, that is how she got pregnant too. Just a funny story.
No, that's different. That was when they stayed inside during Hurricane Sandy.
When I was in college, we used to have this place we used to call the Beer Crack House, only because it was like this old drive-through convenience store that was like dilapidated, and they had like wooden doors. And basically, I mean, we were underage, so you couldn't. They would serve you. You'd knock on the door, window would open, what you want, and you can get like a case of Bush 40s for like a nickel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
awesome.
wait a second. You were in 1920 Chicago?
Yes, I was. Yes.
He looks great. He looks great in a flapper dress.
He would look good in a Capone derby. Actually, he would look badass.
1994 Hempstead, New York, made a striking resemblance in 1920 Chicago.
Must be.
I think Brodigan would look as good in a Capone derby hat as he does in the Zach Brown beanie.
I have too big of a head.
Nah.
No,
dude,
I
haven't. Have you seen pictures of Capone? Capone's head is like 4 times your size.
But then you know something? They made bigger hats back then. Cause this thing right here is at least an 8. Now see, he's got the Capone derby.
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
So Brodigan, are you wearing a one size fits most hat?
You know, actually, no. I don't even think this has a size, but one size fits most. It's a lie.
It is.
One size fits most for like big head people like me.
Well, I think that's why they changed one size fits all to one size fits most, so they could cover their asses.
Yeah, but
Newsy.
Politically correct.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Albert.
So okay, so Cole's got the newsie, I've got the Zach Brown beanie, and Brandon's got the Justin Timberlake hat.
Yeah. Where's your hat, Erin? Where's your hat? You don't have one because you're not cool like us. That's right.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a penis like we do.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd do with one if I had it.
What does that feel like not having
it?
That must suck.
Oh God.
You know what? But I don't live in fear of my zipper. So there is that.
Good point. And quite frankly, neither do the 3 of us. Hey-o!
Notice I didn't participate in that joke, ladies. I didn't participate in that.
You guys get those button-up flies, you know? Because what's the point if it takes a little longer?
I hate those things.
No,
I hate
fuck
those things.
Button-up flies.
Yeah, seriously. When I'm
those are
drunk,
the worst things ever.
When I'm drunk and I'm going to the restroom, the last thing I want to do is concentrate on my crotchal
Why don't
region.
they make adult clothes with snaps like they do for children?
They do.
Getting that off is like so quick. It's
First
like
off,
a snap
I agree
to
with
use
that. Second
a
off,
used pun.
Brandon, you don't have to say when I'm drunk. We already assume.
Yes.
Okay.
You know something?
I'm sorry. That was,
no, but they should do that. Instead of button flies, they should make snap flies.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so or Velcro flies.
Yeah, you notice
Velcro.
Yes, but Velcro
With
is loud.
Ninja
So if you're
Turtle
trying to
logos
have
on
the
them.
sneaky sex, you're gonna wake the neighbors with the. Just saying. Although no one's caring about the neighbors.
Velcro? How loud is your Velcro that you have to hide it from the neighbors next
I'm just.
door?
Oh, I should have said parents. If you want to have the sneaky sex, if you want to have sneaky sex, I don't think a Velcro crotch would work.
Okay, just
all right. Okay, first of all,
Come on, Velcro is loud.
First of all, you're wrong. Second of all, we need to make Velcro flies like those shoes with like Ninja Turtle and Power Ranger logos on them, or like Super Mario.
What if they had messages on it for your future bang? Like you're getting lucky, or I don't know.
Only women get those. Only women get to wear those. If I pull down my pants
like our Occupy This.
Oh yes, the Occupy This Long.
Our Occupy This Long at the Misfit store for I think it's a very reasonable price at $12.99. Go ahead, ladies.
Go ahead. You know, I want a written. Yeah, no. You know what though? I think that we do need written messages for men on their boxers. It's like as soon as you unbutton the pants, there it is. Congratulations.
See,
you are the lucky recipient of my penis.
Oh my god.
See, my thing is,
$100,000 winner.
Okay,
This is not a joke.
Going on down.
This is not a joke. You have won.
Yeah. See, here's my thing. My thing is, I know girls spend a lot of time thinking about their underwear. They take great pride in it. As far as I'm concerned, if I'm seeing you in your underwear, it's not gonna be on for very long, because I don't really care.
Yeah.
If I got to that point and I saw someone wearing a Misfit Politics Occupy This thong, I'd have to leave.
What?
I would. I would have to give myself cab fare.
Why?
Why?
It would just feel. I'd be thinking about you guys, and it would just feel weird.
No, you would think of us.
I want you to think of me.
I want you to think of me too, because I'm the one who came up with that.
That's right. I want you to imagine us cheering you on. Like, hey, look, dude. Merry f***ing Christmas.
Dude, no.
Unwrap this shit.
Walk out of the room, because not only did you find your flavor of the night, but you might have found your flavor of life. If she's wearing a Misfit thong, then you know she's a keeper.
Okay, and I want you to Yoda high five us, just like as you're getting on, just be like, and you know what? I'll feel it.
Okay,
this time.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that if any of us find our flavor of the night and they're wearing Misfit undergarments, they might be our flavor of the night, but they're actually our stalker.
Not well, you know what?
Which would also be sort of awesome.
Yeah, that's also kind of cool. Here's the thing.
By the way, our first purchaser of the Misfit thong is Michelle Ray, also known as Golf Girl. So let's go ahead and cheers to
toast to her.
Golf Girl.
Golf Girl on Twitter.
You know, speaking of Golf Girl, this actually happened this week. You know when like people on Twitter, they'll just they have like hotkeys that send out insults. Golf Girl was arguing with like a Justin a Mash fan or something, and this person actually told Golf Girl. I say it one more time. This person told Golf Girl.
Stay with us, kids.
Yes, that she needs to read Atlas Shrugged.
Seriously?
To which I responded, "Oh, so Galt? I put the Galt in capital letters. Galt's girls read Atlas Shrugged. Really, Junior?" He didn't respond to that.
Are you really?
Yes.
Hey, Big Bird, watch Sesame Street. Like, that's the equivalent. Like, really?
Yeah. Hey, Big Bird 69-420, watch Sesame Street one of these days.
Go.
Hey, Luke Skywalker. You should watch Star Wars. Come on, that's so bad. I got a million in it.
Let's see how many more.
I'll stop.
Let's see how many more Erin can come up with.
No, that's good. I'm good.
Go ahead, Erin.
No, my humor is lacking, and I know that. I'm bombing. I'm just feeling.
Right. Well, no, actually.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers, you should watch State Farm commercials.
I have to give Erin credit because literally, I believe 100% of the sex talk on this podcast originated with Erin.
Yeah.
Well, you'll also notice that she's the one that brought up boobs.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true. I did mention the Milky Way.
Don't go back and check that later. Just believe me when I say it.
Take a word for it.
So hey, boobs. What?
No boobs.
Back to
We're
boobs.
on
We're back to boobs again?
podcast.
Yes, it always goes back to boobs.
Do we need a disclaimer at the end, like no
I'm
boobs
actually
were
more of
harmed in the making of this podcast?
I'm actually more of a butt guy.
I'm actually more of a whatever in front of my face guy.
Brodigan's a whatever he can get.
I'll even
He's
it
like,
out and,
oh, look at that big
I'm a. It's the end of the night, and yeah, whatever.
yeah.
Whatever you want to throw at me.
Yeah.
I like the milk
Like,
maker.
hey girl, your
fan.
patella's looking real nice. Look at that
I
kneecap.
will say I am more pro curves than I am like pro size 0.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah.
But you don't hate on the size 0 girls, right?
No, I'll be honest with you. I don't hate on anyone who's drunk enough to say yes. Or
See,
me.
I'm mainly used to size 0 girls. Seriously, like that's.
Some of us can't help it. We're not slaving away in the gym. We just have quick metabolism. Just
That's
saying.
right. That's
Or
right.
starving
Do you know
yourself.
Do you know how hard it is to live your life like that, Brodigan? That's not funny, dude. We eat like ice cream and brownies, cupcakes all day long, and not once do we gain any weight.
No,
You shut up.
You.
I just lost 30
You're
pounds,
so
and
skinny.
I worked my ass off.
actually, you know what I had today? homemade fudge with M&Ms and Butterfingers made inside.
Oh, you lost me at Butterfingers.
Do you know what I did today? I ran a
Don't
sub
even
6
care.
minute mile and almost threw up.
Ooh, that was on Facebook.
I know.
That's Facebook official. I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah. True,
Oh my
it was
God!
on Facebook.
Yes.
Right before
But no,
we
for real,
went
I
on,
did.
Like he ran his 6 mile, 8 mile, 6 mile. What was it again?
It was a sub 6 minute mile.
Sub 6
I ran a mile in 5:57.
Okay, and he posted on Facebook, and then he came here.
Dang it! Wait, 567 a mile?
5:57. 5:67 would be 6 minutes and 7 seconds.
557. Yeah, that would be.
Too much wine, Aaron.
No. I just misheard you, and then I repeated it without thinking. Wow. Yeah, my best mile was like 8 minutes and 6 seconds, and that was like 8th grade.
Yeah,
My best mile was like 22 minutes.
You know what? There was a kid in my 10th grade PE class, and he had to. We all had to do the mile the same day, and this kid, Bobby Beck. Shout out to Bobby. He was like,
Bobby
"Fuck
Beck.
that."
I'm not drinking to Bobby.
Bobby.
He sounds like a
No, wait
Fuck
for
Bobby
the story. Wait for the story. We had a 32-minute period, right, for this class, and we all had to run the mile.
usually lasted
And
a week.
Bobby walked the mile. Bobby spent 31 and a half minutes walking that damn mile, and we all finished in like 8, and he just in 31 minutes and wasted the whole class. And all we did was
Alright, I'll
goof
drink
off
to
after
Bobby.
that.
He was
Bobby,
that's
that
not
was
working
fantastic.
Hard. That's
Drink
working
to Bobby
smart,
for having
and
such
you
an
know
uber
what?
liberal slacker mentality
It was
that he
awesome.
only wants.
He was
1
doing
mile.
a shout out to his homies, yeah. He was hooking up his classmates with a free class. You know, it was pretty great.
Okay.
With a free
Actually,
class.
Before we go, we're not going to go for a while, but I just want to make sure we get this in because Punk Princess PA, the person who's like our biggest fan, whose name I can't think of, because
Hello,
she was
Punk Princess.
to her. I think her name's Heather. But because she was the first person to say, "Oh my God, I can't wait for you guys to be back on again," I said she could choose a topic that we'll discuss in the show.
Oh, yeah. We do need to.
Yes, she wanted to ask us about violence and rap music, but since we're not really rap people, I mean, I am an old school b-boy from back in the day, but I'm also from New York, where I lay claim to that. I had figured we'll segue off of to violence in video games, because I am fairly certain that at least one of these 4 boxes you see down here, one of those faces, at least one of them wants to spit hot fire on this right now.
I don't like that!
You don't like violence in video games?
No, I love that.
Okay, actually,
That was the most gentle voice, like he was about to bust into a lullaby for an infant.
hang on, but before Brandon explodes, Heather just corrected me. It's Punk Principessa. It's Italian.
Yeah. Principessa. Like in that one, I
Principessa.
forget the name of that movie.
Hey!
Hey! Have you met Crudo?
Have you met Ted?
There's a movie that is based during World War II and the Holocaust that is based on a Jewish family or a Polish Jewish family or something like
Showgirls.
that. Huh?
Showgirls.
Yes. Demi Moore and I don't know. No, but it's based on a guy who his family gets sent to a concentration camp, but it shows him meeting his wife and everything like that, and he calls her Principessa. And every time I see
Life is beautiful.
yeah, it is. Life is beautiful.
Really?
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's what it sounds familiar.
Yeah,
Aw.
that's great movie. And then every time
It
I
is a
see
good
Punk
movie.
Principessa, her Twitter handle, I think of that movie.
See, I was actually wondering how Cole was going to tie like the Holocaust like
I
that.
was too. I'm a little nervous. It got very serious for a second. but we're back.
Trust me.
I actually had my finger on the end broadcast button because I wasn't sure.
Wait, what did you just say? Maybe I don't want to know.
No, I actually had my finger on the end broadcast button because I wasn't sure where he was going with that.
Got it.
Was
I thought you
Brodigan,
Never mind.
Brodigan, was that your final solution?
Yes.
Oh, what? Why did I do that?
Oh no, she didn't like Showgirls, or she did like Showgirls. Principessa, we're not sure.
I'm actually a huge fan of the Jewish community. Ask anybody. So
the
anyway,
Jews.
To the Jews.
Evan
cheers
Pope.
to that
To
beer.
the Jews.
Okay,
I have no more wine.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I'm out of drink.
So all right, so we're talking about.
Brandon, speaking of the Holocaust, Call of Duty, go.
Oh, it's such a good game. You know it right now. But here's the thing, though. You know, that whole thing in Newtown happened, and it was a shut up. It was a tragedy. don't get me wrong. I mean, in this, I want to really make sure that I get that across, that it was a tragedy. The problem here is that whenever something like that goes down, both sides of the aisle go one of two ways. The left tends to blame guns, as if there's some inanimate object or some boogeyman that is not an inanimate object, and they like to go off about how, they like to pretend like it's the gun that's out to get you, and that it's going to suddenly come to life and like just shoot off whenever, you know. That's complete bullcrap. You're more liable to die by a doctor's hand than you are a gun. So, but the right
thing that shoots off without anybody touching it is Brandon. So.
That's you know what? That's right. That's right. Wait. That's not true, Cole. That's not true, bro. You know that. You know that to be true. Anyway, the right.
I do know.
We're never, ever, ever.
Let me get back to because you know, I believe.
Come on, we all saw the 2-for-1 Occupy this thong purchase. Okay.
That's right.
And to quote the great conservative philosopher Taylor Swift, "Loving Brandon Morse is red."
Oh, I thought it was if loving Brandon Morse is wrong, I don't want to be right. I thought that's what it was. I got the quote wrong.
Okay, none of us are right then.
Let's get back to talking about Newtown so I can pay attention again.
So anyway, but the right has a really bad habit.
Are holding up our phones now?
What? I got a new awesome phone cover for Christmas too.
Sparky.
One word: Chewbacca.
The right has a tendency to start blaming the media, which is ridiculous. You know, they like to say, well, you know, if this kid didn't play video games, you know, he wouldn't have done it. Video games are the downfall of our society because it's making kids less sensitive to violence.
No, it's not. It's preparing them for the apocalypse, damn it.
I can tell you something. My dad's a police officer, and I have seen some shit. All right? And I can tell you that the virtual violence that happens, it does not prepare you for the actual stuff. You know, like one time we went to a accident where a woman had gotten hit by a bike, or she was on a bike and gotten hit by a car, and there were bones sticking out, blood everywhere on the table, and seeing that does not prepare you, seeing it virtually does not prepare you for the real thing. I can tell you that right now. Like, I will never get that image out of my head. So whenever somebody on the right says, well, you know, video games are the problem, they're full of crap and they don't know what they're talking about. It's someone who doesn't understand something blaming something because there's nothing else that they can possibly blame. So, and here's another thing. Shut up. There is my phone. It just doesn't like to shut up.
Silence.
They have a button for that.
I just don't feel like pressing it.
That's okay.
The problem is that, see, now I completely forgot where I was going. I was on such a good roll too.
The problem with conservatives and video games is
that they don't play them. They need to play more of them. But you know, they're treating them as one of the great, you know, problems of our time, which is complete crap. There is no possible way that a video game, just like okay, you know, kids read books. They used to read books all the time. They would act stuff out. Yeah, that's great, but it all comes down to your imagination and how you're raised. All right, if your parents are there to make sure that you can put things in context and be a good person, then that is who you become. Yeah, your parents' voice becomes your conscience. So the problem here is the dude was crazy. He was crazy to begin with. No amount of no video games would have changed that. Period. That's the way it is.
I'm not going to contradict you here, and
you're damn right you're not going to contradict me here.
But I'm going to contradict you a little bit. And it has nothing to do with the video games or the content in the video games themselves, but and this isn't even an all-encompassing reason, but really the culture that current media or multimedia that we have today, and the introvert that it might create in some people, and the complete lack of social awareness as far as contact with other people, like this is a conversation I had on the night of Newtown with my sister. Was like, I don't know if it's video games, the fact that he had autism, that's complete crap. I don't know anything about that. But like this like totally introverted, like boiling bubble that has no human contact outside of their computer screen, outside of basically screens, whether it's video games on it, TV shows, internet, anything like that. That it creates this like this ticking time bomb in those that have a mental trigger that is just waiting to be pulled, and that the fact that they don't have that human contact for somebody to even them out, I guess, a little bit.
Here's my problem. Like I said, it starts with crazy to begin with, and you have to have, it doesn't matter what you do, they're gonna just. That's like their own thoughts or logic to them. There is no outside influence. I mean, beside the fact, they're going to bring in some things, but in the end, they're going to do what they're going to do. All right, and it doesn't matter what they see. They're gonna somehow warp anything that they do or proceed into being their logic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to blame any one certain thing, and I'm certainly not blaming video games. I just feel like there's just like such a there's other outlets, and if these people that are already subject to have these kind of mental breakdowns or have these kind of disabilities or whatever you want to call it, they're going to be subject to, if they're allowed to be introverted by these types of technological advancements and the culture that we've created. And especially when they hear and read these things on the internet that they're on all the time, they want to, have their name go down in flames, which I truly do believe is something that happens because they're too much of cowards to do anything otherwise. So what do? They kill a bunch of people and kill themselves.
But you know what? My dad brought up an interesting point the other day. He goes, you know what we need to really stop doing? Is whenever these tragedies go down, release nothing about the killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Release nothing. Like, don't let anyone. I mean, not only does it avoid innocent people with the same name, which is the second time this has happened, by the way. Not only does it allow them to live their lives without being bothered, but a lot of these people want to go down in history. They want a name for themselves and they want to make themselves known. You know what? Don't talk about them at all. Just focus on the victims who are, and the people who actually deserve the attention, and make the people who kill them, make them forgotten. No one remembers them.
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
They already have it where they if a crime's committed against you, like if the person had a crime committed against them is underage, if it's a rape, they'll protect they won't publicize the name of the person, mainly to protect their privacy, to protect their identity. So, but they're already crimes where they're not mentioning the person's name for a very, 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 very good reason and an understandable reason. They should start doing the same with the people who actually commit the crimes, and especially if the person kills themselves too. Look, obviously, if the person's still alive, you're going to see the name in the news because eventually there's going to be the lawsuit. Not lawsuit. I'm sorry. Eventually, there's going to be the trial. If the person's still alive, eventually there's going to be like the reason why. But if the person who did it, planned it and then killed them and kills themselves, once they kill themselves, they don't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
I like that.
Especially for coping mechanisms, for these people that are in that world, in that life. It's like if there was you wish there was one easy solution, but some better coping mechanisms could give them a better option, because when they do this, that's their way out. That's their only option. And there's to them, if there's one option, that's the way out. When in reality, there's more. But that's the lack of, that's what they don't have.
It's a lack of a lot of things, sadly. And I mean, without getting too serious, it's a lack of God, it's a lack of self-awareness, it's a lack of learning. And it's probably, and this is a lot of times the case, it's a lack of parents.
Yeah.
So the big thing is, though, it is a tragedy, but one thing, and this is a coping mechanism for the rest of the populace when something like this happens and the media just decides to blow it up like this, is we have to stop shifting blame to one group or another. The right needs to stop blaming the media just like the left needs to stop blaming guns. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And the other thing is we also whenever these happens, people want to look like the quick fix. Because I know, I was we acted when Columbine happened. We found out the hard way. They actually used to be fans of the wrestling website I was working for at the time. And I remember that particularly all was because of pro wrestling, it was because of Marilyn Manson, or it was because of guns. And instances earlier on where there were two satanic ritual killings when I was growing up, and because one of them, the person had a copy of Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz in their pocket, and the other one had a copy of Ozzy Osbourne's Randy Rhoads tribute in their pocket, and both of those tapes had a song called Suicide Solution on it. The reason why the killings happened was because they were listening to Suicide Solution, which no one put it together. Well, maybe the reasons why they both had those tapes was because it was two of Ozzy's best albums.
Yeah.
But whenever these things happen, no one ever asked the questions. Why, even tries to figure out how it happened, how the person got to this way when they did this. Because I think of myself, was picked on all throughout school, listened to heavy metal, watched pro wrestling, watched violent movies, and my dad's a retired police officer, so there was always a gun in the house. I knew where it was. I knew where the bullets were. And while I've never fired it before, it looked pretty self-explanatory. I never went into school and killed anyone, though.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same thing. I mean, there are millions of people out there. I've been playing video games all my life, since I was old enough to cognitively process all this stuff. And I have not once gotten violent with anyone. It all comes down to who you are on the inside and what kind of problems you have. That's all it is. I mean, you have to start with some kind of mental problem in order to be well, you know what the answer is? Bang, 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 bang. I mean, that's it. There are millions of gamers. In fact, here's the thing. A lot of people look down on the gaming industry like it's a breeding ground for some sort of serial killer army. But here's the thing. No one is going to report on this. The charity known as Child's Play recently just raised over $5 million+ to help children in hospitals. You're not going to hear that in the mainstream media because it doesn't sell well.
Right.
You're not going to hear about that. The guys at Penny Arcade, who are a gaming website, they write comics and jokes about games. You'll never hear their names talked about in the mainstream media. It's all about what sells well. And this is another reason why I think we should stop fighting the media, and we should start becoming it and taking it over. There has to be a line where we draw it, a line we draw that says, you know what, that's enough bad news for the day. All right, that's enough agenda pushing. Let's talk about the great things that are going down, things that are actually helping people. Because when you really think about it, how much stuff on the news do you hear that actually promotes stuff that helps people, that actually gets stuff out there?
Stuff, yeah,
that doesn't actually involve some sort of tragedy. I mean, there are people out there right now who are building homes for people in countries that couldn't even, they literally live in dirt. That's what they live in. They're out there building homes and getting them fresh water. You're never going to hear about them. You're never going to hear how you can join them or who you can call or donate to because, I mean, they have to do all this stuff themselves. The mainstream media is only going to do and tell you about what's sellable, what shocks you, what really grabs your attention. And let's face facts, as a species, we like violence, we like bad news because, we can, it's drama. What do you think?
But it keeps getting worse because now it's not a matter of wait till the story's out.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you hear something, it goes on cable. There is, I'm fairly certain that there is absolutely nothing that was originally reported about the Newton shootings that was accurate.
Yeah.
Every single fact,
it's awful.
Every single news item that came out, every single update, absolutely every single one got contradicted.
Yeah.
That poor kid on Facebook.
Yeah.
who got blamed for it, and I was sitting there talking on Twitter. I'm like, I feel really bad for the kid with the same name, or like, and I said the name. I said I feel really bad for this guy. And they're like, no, it is him. It is him. The news reported it. I was like, why don't you pay attention just a little bit more and see that the guy that they're actually showing pictures of did not kill him? Well, how do you know that? Because he's still on Facebook making Facebook status updates. The dude who shot everyone is dead.
Yeah, because he's still alive.
Not only that, but then also because they blamed, or they reported that it was actually his older brother that did it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? For a little bit, it was his older brother.
It was his older brother for a while.
It was his older brother, but then they realized, oh wait, hold on, he's still alive and not in the school.
They couldn't figure out how he got into the school. They couldn't figure out what gun that he used. They couldn't find out what his motive was.
Or what his mom did.
What his mom...
Was she a teacher? Was she not? Was she at home? Was she there?
How fucking careless do you have to be that you can simply figure out that if someone is a teacher at a school or not a teacher at the school?
My favorite response of all time throughout that entire thing was some guy was tweeting out about it. He was from Newtown, and he said, I'm going to talk to my cousin or something, blah, 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 blah. And some reporter saw that on Twitter and was like, oh, hi, I'm from the blah, blah, blah news station. Is there any possible way that you could get me an interview with your cousin who was there?
And the response was?
And his response, which should be the response of everyone in these situations, was, eat a dick. That was brilliant. He just tweeted back, eat a dick. I thought that was great. That should be the response to the media about 90% of the time, I feel like.
And I'm sorry, and
we're because they have a job to do too, but
yeah. And we're actually gonna wrap up here, but when the simple fact that shows you how lazy the media has gotten, reporters have gotten. They're not even trying to contact the person; they're tweeting them.
Oh, or they'll say, to cover their own butts, they'll say not reported or not confirmed, not independently confirmed. That's the phrase. Not independently confirmed by.
We might have heard from my mother's aunt, who was a friend of someone who might have been there.
We have not independently confirmed this. Then why are you about to proceed? Well, that's what bugs me.
It has been independently confirmed, but here's the picture of who we think it is, who lives at 128 Mockingbird Lane in Newton, Connecticut. But like we said. We do not have it confirmed that his video game nickname is Misfit69, and that he doesn't wear a size 11 shoe, and that he isn't actually working at Barnes & Noble right now. We don't have it confirmed.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
wait just a second. Since Punk Participation did request that we talk about rap violence, Tupac, Biggie. All right, cool. Let's do this. Pour one out for my homies.
Right. And on since bringing up East Coast West Coast rap reference is a good place to end. We are going to wrap it up this week. We actually have a great episode planned next week that organically was planned on Twitter. Next week on episode 2, DOA, the Misfit Politics, the official podcast of the most best-looking blog in the blogosphere. We're doing a 1-hour-long tribute to Fueled by Raymond and Decadent Records.
There you go.
Nice.
With the aforementioned him for Rachel, though.
Him for Rachel has to come on.
In theory, after she watched this, she might not want to anymore. But yeah, she was booked before the show.
And for everybody who is not living in Long Island, Fuel for Ramen it actually means Fuel for Ramen.
Yeah, it's actually ramen.
I was gonna say.
I just want to clear that up real fast.
Yes.
Craving them.
But
it was.
Wait, do you still get cravings even though you had the baby?
Does wine count? No, I'm kidding. I was just using.
God,
one's understandable.
Only if you drank while you were pregnant. I mean.
No, not really.
Does your baby wake you up and be like, "I want a 40"?
my kid likes wine. No, I'm kidding. No, not really.
I actually keep telling my niece that if she's working on the buzz sound, if beer is her first word, I'll give her a taste. I keep telling her, look, if you say beer, I'll put a little on my finger.
She worked for it. I think she deserves it.
My next door neighbor trained his daughter at 2 years old. He'd be like, "Shay, fridge, go to his mini fridge in the man cave, pull out a beer, and bring it to him."
I've already worked.
Thing ever.
I've already worked that out with my brother-in-law as soon as she could walk well.
By the way, brother-in-law means brother-in-law.
and the female misfits, they call it misfeats, right?
Misfits.
No, misfits.
All right.
You son of a bitch.
Before my Long Island accent gets mocked anymore, for Brandon, for Erin, for Cole, for him, for Rachel, for I got the pronunciation right here. Punk Principe Pesa, it's Italian. For Cole Streeper, for everyone else we brought up today.
You can also hear this podcast on FTR Radio.
Yes, the mighty FTR Radio. You could hear Wednesday night at a time that I can't think of right now. 11 o'clock.
11 p.m. Eastern.
Maduke!
It's 11 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, and thank you, Tom LaDouche, wherever you may be. This has been Misfit Politics DOA. We out!